I want you to see that the inner critic is not a flaw. As much as you're hard on yourself right now, as much as you probably like, I cannot stand how critical, how judgmental I am on the inside. I feel like I low-key can't control it. But here's a reframe, how you can actually shift your perspective about the inner critic. It's not a flaw, but it's your own intelligence operating system that didn't have the proper guidance, that didn't have the proper authority, guidelines, framework to know how to operate. So in a sense, it's malfunctioning. But understand that just because it's malfunctioning doesn't mean that it cannot be adjusted. It cannot be guided into where it needs to be. It knows how to assess. It knows how to strategize. It knows how to protect, but it has just been given the wrong assignment. It's given the wrong job, y'all. So you have every day an opportunity to reframe, to adjust. See it as a moment in time, an invitation for you to make those changes. So the moment those negative thoughts creep in, those moments where you're starting to feel insecure, those are invitations. Every critical thought, it produces, is structured like guidance. At the end of the day, it's trying to make you safe. Remember, ultimately, your consciousness and in particular, your makeup is ultimately trying to survive. It's trying to protect you so that you can live. So if there has been some infrastructure that is not stable, where it feels like there's some form of fragility, then it comes up, it creeps out to say, hey, alert, like this may not be good, because we don't want to experience what we experienced before. And it may be the negative thought pattern that made you drive into this spiraling effect of, I'm not good enough, that can't happen, I don't want to be disappointed again, I don't want to experience failure again, I don't want to feel guilty for investing in me, and then lo and behold, it didn't turn out right. So I told everyone, no, I'm good, I can handle this on my own. And then I thought I could handle it, and then now I'm swamped. Now I'm not only swamped, I'm overwhelmed to the point where I shut down. And that inner critic is, man, I'm telling you, is highly intelligent. You just got to give it another assignment. So see it as it identified the risks, those possibilities. It actually names the failure that is trying to prevent you from experiencing. And it actually prescribes a correction. But you have to see that the structure is not the problem, but the targeting is. So most people try to silence the inner critic. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I can't allow that negative thought to come in, and I'm immediately going to cast it down, and I'm going to say 5 affirmations to overspeak it, or to maybe drown it out, or and psychologically it can kind of help you, but you can't silence the critic. You just got to ask those questions like I've mentioned before. You have to go to the root of that fear, of that concern. Judging it in a sense of shame or guilt is actually the wrong move. silence doesn't retrain it. So say for instance, you're saying, okay, I'm gonna just allow it to just play out. I'm gonna keep doing what I need to do, but these thoughts come, I'm just gonna keep on and just kind of like ignore it or whatever. That's not going to change it. It actually suppresses. It suppresses a faculty you actually need. And I'm gonna add this a little tidbit, what I recognize even within me. You have to release it, because otherwise it's stored up energy of worry, concern, judgment, all of that. And it's like built up in you. And so even when you do attempt to do something that you normally do, or something that you're taking a leap of faith, or, you know, tapping into your purpose, whatever you're working on, developing a new skill or craft, whatever, if you're not allowing yourself to express that concern, that fear, is going to permeate the project anyway. It's going to seep through. That energy is going to seep through into the frequency of what you're creating. So some things may even fall flat. You know how some people say do it scared? Yes, to an extent, but you have to first address the root of that concern, of that fear, of that judgment, of that critique. Even say, for instance, someone is telling you you need to work on your speaking, or you need to work on how you communicate. You need to, you could have did that better. And you're listening to that on a record, you know what I'm saying? Like it's recording continuously going on of that negativity. And it may not even be negative. It may be a thing where you're just hard on yourself and you need to tweak your ears, your attune your listening, so that you're not interpreting that critique as something negative or something that can harm you. And I want you to see that the work is redirection. It's not saying you should be absolved. You should never have any fear. You should never have any concern. You should never feel self-conscious or not confident. It's not saying that. It's just acknowledging it, accepting that as a situation that you're experiencing right now. And even if you wanted to, you can like say, okay, what is the likelihood that that would happen? Right? Once you recognize that you are safe and that you could never lose, it could be a lesson, a moment of wisdom, right? But once you put it in its proper perspective, you wouldn't experience that issue. It wouldn't be so large in a sense. You wouldn't be so hard on yourself. Excuse me. Must be on point. Must be on point. So the 5 frequency wounds, this is a series that I'm working on, is where this critic gets instructions. It has an assignment, the proper assignment for it. And each wound created a survival protocol in a sense. And the critic became the enforcer. Okay. So what you will be healing is not necessarily the noise. Bless me. It's not the noise. It's actually the original wound. Remember I said get to the root? It's the original wound that gave the noise, I'm hearing, its value. That gave the noise its job. You cannot think your way out of this. That's why sometimes affirmations don't work, or saying things over and over again. To an extent, they can work, but when you're starting to deal with like the root of issues and getting to the core and stopping those loops, those patterns, you have to really get to the core, and it can be uncomfortable. It may be something that was unconscious or subconscious that you didn't realize, hey, it very well may be connected to your inner child, your upbringing, the social circles. The critic, the critic lives in the frequency layer. Meaning it's not something surface level. It's in the energy of that particular area. It's something underlying. You got to get really into it. You got to get into the field. That is why awareness, I always explain this over and over again. Awareness, acknowledgement, getting to the root, even acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that you're agreeing that this is the way it should be. You're saying, okay, I accept where I am right now, but I know that this is a temporary moment. This is a moment in time. I don't even want to say temporary. It's a moment that you could transition out of at any given moment. So instead of using how long, giving a certain time frame, giving a certain span of time as far as how long you deal with it. You know, sometimes people say in therapy, they give those a lot of times. Okay, you can feel your feels, give yourself 15 minutes or whatever the case may be, or a day or whatever. But I'm even just saying moment. And you could say, what in the heck is a moment? That's the beauty of it. Okay. And again, awareness alone doesn't stop it. And that's why this work goes somewhere that pure mindset shifts cannot reach. We got to get to the root. We got to get to the cause of it. Then you have to have the openness and the willingness to see it, even if you don't have the answers at that moment. The answer will come, but just being open to that possibility, seeing it as an invitation. All right, this is Amethyst Goddess in Alignment Ministries. I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope that carries you, that anchors you, that even draws some form of curiosity for you to listen more. Be well. Take care.